So it seems that the answers that you are seeking, you are going to find in deep meditation, very, very, very deep meditation, right? This meditation has to be so deep that you literally are immersed within that imaginal space, that meditative space, to where all of your exterior stimuli and things that are happening, it literally just disappears because you are so immersed within this meditation, within your imagination. And it seems that with the Four of Cups, because the cups to me feel like the subconscious realm, this idea that has been waiting to present itself to you is going to appear when you are in this deep state of meditation. Again, extremely deep meditation where it feels like you are in this state for maybe an hour or two, something like that. Some of you may be kind of avoiding this because it might be boring to you with the Four of Cups. Maybe you just don't feel like going into this meditative state. But with the Hermit, I feel that this is very, very necessary if you want to kind of progress and move forward with the Fool, right? Because you want to experience new exciting situations, and you really, I feel with the Fool, some of you really, really want something fantastical to happen to you. You want something that is very miraculous and dreamlike. You're kind of tired of, with the Four of Cups, you're really getting tired of just the lack of things happening in your life. The Four of Cups feels like nothing is really emotionally satisfying you. It feels that mm, because I'm seeing the Four of Cups, there are three cups here, and the Three of Cups usually symbolizes, friendships and parties and things of that sort, getting together with others. But it seems that many of you feel like there's not really anyone in your circumstances that are providing you with emotional satisfaction and happiness. And I'm just looking at my cat who's like pacing back and forth, back and forth. She's like a literal tiger. She just paces around and around. And I think some of you are feeling that way. You're just looking for something new to get into because you feel that there's nothing really around you to get into. There's nothing that's really satisfying or meeting your emotional needs with the Four of Cups. But this feels like to use maybe a sense of boredom or dissatisfaction with your circumstances and to use that and to go into a meditative state that is so deep that when you come out of it, you have received this download with the Fool. It feels like when you come out of this state, you will know exactly what you're supposed to do. It feels like you will literally know what you came here to do. And with the Hermit, some of you could literally already be in this period where there's no one really around you. You feel, with the Four of Cups, that you're not connecting to people. And the Hermit, though, because there's a mirror, this kind of looks like a reflection. I feel, hmm, and I'm also getting this life review energy from this Hermit. I don't know why. It seems that I'm just in my mind's eye getting a visual of her looking at her life flashing before her eyes. So some of you may be feeling the need to kind of do this. I'm getting the judgment energy. Like you feel like you might need to do a life review within your mind, right? This life review to figure out what you've been doing up until this point and what has not been working. Some of you, yeah, you're going to be kind of pushed and called to go very, very deep within your subconscious space because when you come out of that meditative space, that hermiting, where you are alone and within yourself, secluded from others, I feel again with this full energy, this flower here, you will know exactly what you came here to do. And I also want to say with the Fool energy and this Hermit, I think that the polar opposite of your experiences, you kind of feeling like you're not connecting with others, the Fool feels like you jumping into the polar opposite of that. So I want to say when you discover what it is that you're meant to be doing, you're going to be called to take certain actions towards that. And these actions feel like they are very much out of your comfort zone. And these actions also feel like they're going to lead you to people who you feel very connected to. Because this Four of Cups to me I'm just seeing these 3 cups, and I feel that you are quite bored with others that are around you, or the lack of people around you, right? But that's for a reason. I think you're meant to be alone right now because this answer wants to kind of show itself to you, but you can't have too many distractions. You can't have people around you. So you may be finding yourself alone more often than not, right? Because this hermiting is meant, you're meant to be in that space to discover this, I want to say, this calling with the Fool, to discover your calling. That's what this is about. So let's see what else wants to come out. And I feel you finding something to do, even in that boredom, is literally meditating and then discovering something deep within yourself that'll help you. Oh, wow. Did I not say this feels like the Judgment? Man, man, I'm good. Like, I really do not make these things up. I really don't. This is a life review. What did I say about the Judgment? This is Judgment energy. You're going to be, and this looks exactly very similar to the Hermit, does it not? That's what I was seeing. You're going to be presented like a screen, or this is all obviously, metaphorical. This is not literal. I don't feel that any of you are going to have any NDEs, so don't be afraid when I say life review. It's not that. You're very well going to be, here, living, breathing. But this feels, in this meditative state, you will enter a realm where you are able to see things spiritually. It feels like you're going to be so deep into this realm that, again, your conscious thoughts and your mind will kind of subside, and then the subconscious will take over, and then you're going to be, I guess, presented with the opportunity to go through with a life review, maybe Akashic Records or something like that, where you are able to see, with the Judgment, kind of where you're heading if you continue to keep doing whatever it is that you are doing. With the Four of Cups, no offense, but it feels like quite literally nothing. So you could maybe just not be doing anything. I want to say there is something you are avoiding in your current circumstances. You are avoiding doing something that, to me, it feels like you know that you have to do. In the Judgment, this is going to be greeting you, right? This will be presented to you, this life review of, you got to kind of take inventory of the things that you have been doing up to this point. And if you are not where you want to be, then the Judgment is a very serious, I guess, I don't want to say warning, but it does feel like a forewarning for you to kind of get going. This energy feels, with the Four of Cups, I feel there's a bit of procrastination going on, and there's something that you have not been doing that you should have been doing. And whatever this is, this feels like this deep meditation. I feel maybe some of you have been trying to purposely distract yourself from doing this deep, deep inner work, because I feel whatever this energy is, it just feels like your subconscious, or the unknown, the hidden realms, wants to show you maybe a future prophecy of your life. If kind of stop doing this Four of Cups energy, which feels like procrastination and avoidance and just repetitive, habitual living, and kind of living on autopilot and just being really bored with life and not being emotionally satisfied and stimulated, and then to start living like the Fool, which feels a little bit more rebellious, where some of you may be feeling called to just do something that's extremely risky, where you don't even have a backup plan, but you just know that you have to do something. That's the Fool energy. The Fool is, yes, taking risks, right, but it is called the Fool. It's called the Fool for a reason, because you're doing something that to others will appear very foolish. This kind of has a vibe of you literally just moving to a different country or state with like no money, that kind of vibe. And again, I'm not telling anyone to do anything. This is just an example because of how you've been living. So the judgment here is to kind of, this feels a little bit like calling you out a little bit. Because if you watch those NDE stories, right, those near death experiences, the stories, and there's a bunch of them on YouTube where people, they get presented with their life review and they're kind of like, oh man, I didn't even get to do that, or I should have did this, I should have did that. It's a whole bunch of you will watch those videos and these people are just full of regret and regret. So just imagine if that wasn't a near death experience. Imagine if that was the end, like that was the end. Those people are very lucky that they are able to get another chance at this and that they're able to kind of finally do what they want to do. And then you will see after they wake up in the hospital, whatever the case may be, it's like they embody this full energy and they take life a little bit more seriously and they take life paradoxically less seriously, right? That's the paradox of this. Because that is taking life seriously, is actually not taking things seriously. Some of you may have been taking things too seriously with the Four of Cups and avoiding situations out of fear. Right? But the minute you stop taking life seriously, that is you actually taking life very seriously. That's the paradox of life. So again, the judgment feels like a bit of a call out that the choices that you have been making have led you to where you are now. And if you are not satisfied with the choices and what's being presented to you in your life, than to change it with the Fool. And by changing this, it feels like doing something extremely risky and completely out of the ordinary and completely out of your comfort zone and just something that you feel is like way too risky. But the Fool knows that they have to do this. That's the thing. Others may look at you as very foolish, like, what are you doing? Why are you even pursuing that career? What are you doing? But the Fool is like, I don't know what I'm doing. I just know that whatever I have been doing is not working and I cannot do it anymore. So that's the Fool. So that's the energy for you to embody as if you are, I guess, seeing the light at the end of the tunnel or the whatever they say in those experiences, right? And again, I'm not saying any of you are going to have like an NDE, but it is giving me that vibe of those who do have them and then they're being presented with the choices they've made and the things that they wish they've done, and those people are always filled with so much regret. When they wake up, they're like, oh my God, what was I doing? So I feel to avoid that, for some of you, to avoid feeling this deep regret of not doing what you actually genuinely been wanting to do out of fear, the judgment is kind of warning you about that. But at first, we'll start, in this deep meditation. And then, yes, the Queen of Cups. Exactly, your subconscious space, the spiritual part of you. There's this energy, your soul really wants you, like your physical body, to connect with it because you've been avoiding something very, very serious with a judgment, very serious, that a task that you have been feeling called to do. So it's going to take you going within, very deep within. This is not just a 10-minute meditation. To me, this feels like, a 2-hour long kind of meditation where you are so deep that you are just immersed in that unconscious realm. And then when you awaken, you will literally know exactly what you are supposed to be doing. And for some of you, it seems maybe before with the Four of Cups, you might have stopped doing this. Like you already were on this path and then you kind of just stopped, with the judgment. Things got in the way, distractions. Maybe you weren't feeling inspired anymore. But I think this deep meditation will kind of make you gain some inspiration back. The inspiration is going to come back, and then you will start to embody this full energy. Even with the Queen of Cups, I feel that for many of you, going into this deep meditation, I do feel like an upgrade or an activation within your soul. Like there is some type of I heard DNA activation, that's very random, but there is some type of soul upgrade that you are going to be getting where you're probably going to start seeing a lot more visions and feeling more intuitive about things. because in this deep meditation, you are connecting with your true essence. That is what's happening. So let's get an overall energy and close this reading out. Very straightforward message. I feel deep meditation will show you the answers that you have been looking for. Very deep meditation. If you, whoa, that's way too many. Wow, but look at that, the judgment again. Yeah, wow, that's crazy. That's a lot of cards, but that judgment at the bottom of the deck, this is crazy. That Yeah, and this judgment, you're gonna be called. There's an energy that's going to really call you, and it feels like your soul or this higher version of yourself is really gonna call you, which, essentially yourself, you're going to be calling yourself out. But this higher version of yourself, because we are multi-layered, right? We have many different layers, an infinite amount of layers. We are just layers upon layers and layers of energy. But that highest form of energy is really going to call you out because there's something that you are not satisfied with in your environment that you have been avoiding out of fear because you are afraid of taking this action, or you are not motivated to continue. But going in this deep meditation will give you the motivation that you've been needing, because this highest version of yourself with the judgment is going to call you out about the choices you've been making to lead that led you to where you are now, and also how to divert from that and then make choices that will lead you towards where you actually want to go. That's why this is very important for you to go into this deep meditation, because this highest version of yourself is going to literally tell you with the Fool, I feel very clearly. You will see very clearly exactly what you are supposed to be doing. So if you are already doing this and you go into deep meditation, well, that's amazing. That means continue doing it, right? With the Four of Cups, don't stop. Some of you probably already know what you're supposed to be doing, but you just stopped. And this highest version of yourself is going to tell you to keep going. And some of you with the Four of Cups, you literally didn't start at all. So you'll know which side you're on. If you already started or you didn't start, you're going to get called out, dude. I mean, you're going to get called out. Get called out. Oh my, the Hermit. Need I say more? I'm going to end the reading there because, yeah.